had it. Nearly had it.
Same shit that happened last time.
It's okay, guys. Just technical difficulties. But hey everyone. Welcome to another episode of Indie Faith Podcast. You're here with Jules and Mary. We're now up to episode 15. What? Are you serious? So today's episode we'll be talking about leaving the nest. So, obviously our experiences and what we've dealt with, in the process of doing that. Mm-hmm. So yeah, let's get started.
Yeah, so leaving the nest. So most of us polys all know that moving out is a hard process. Especially when have to have that scary task of breaking it to
your parents,
mom and dad. But yeah, what was your what was it like when you moved out?
It was really hard, especially because, like you said, when you had to tell your parents that, hey, I won't be staying here anymore. Or even
is that how you said it? Hey, I'm not going to be staying here anymore.
Yeah, I wanted to live. No, don't do that. If you guys are thinking about it, don't approach your parents like that because you will not have any teeth after.
You won't be leaving anyway.
Be confined to your room. So it was really hard to try and figure out how I was going to tell mum, hey, but obviously you're trying to do it in a respectful way.
Yeah.
Because your parents have raised you all their lives and they've done their best for you to make sure you've lived as long as you have. So it was really hard for me. It was really I was really anxious.
Yeah.
But I think I just went in it with I guess an open mind and just I really needed it at that time. I was like, it's time.
Were you also preparing for hiding?
Yeah, I was half expecting I'm gonna get in trouble. I'm gonna get a little bit of a lecture or being ungrateful, and I was just really scared. But I was like, it's what I really wanted.
Yeah.
Being with Jordan for however many years we've been together. I think we were really together 4 or 5 years at the time.
Yeah.
And keep in mind, moving out of my own home, I was moving into his and his family's home. So it wasn't even just on our own. It was moving out into my in-laws. So I had to tell mum. And, surprisingly, thankfully, she actually took it really well. I just told her, it was something that I really wanted to do.
Yeah.
It's, I'm older now. I think I want to just get out there.
Yeah.
It's time for me to not be so... Because you know how you're always going to be attached to your mum and your siblings, your family, but you need that sort of independence now.
Yeah.
So just removing yourself from that, being familiar in that environment to something new.
What was the reason why you moved out?
My main reason was I'm trying to think of how to word this. Because mum's a single parent and she's got us 6. And I was sort of looking to not be sort of a parent anymore. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to just be on my own. And I know people are going to be like, yeah, but you moved in with your in-laws, so what's the difference? You will know the difference. Island kids will know the difference when you move out of your own home, no matter whether it's with one person or their family or whatever. Even just moving out of your own home is a big deal.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, so I really wanted to just find myself as an individual rather than always being attached to my mum and my siblings. It's always, you're there for your siblings, you're there for your mum.
Yeah.
You're meant to help. You're meant to help raise the kids, help, work, provide, support. And so I was like, oh, it's time. I think it was just something I needed to do.
Yeah. Because it is true. When you have all those responsibilities, you always sort of put yourself last.
Yeah.
We were always raised that way. You put family first and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was it was really daunting because, again, when your mum's a single parent, it's a lot harder because I guess if you had 2, they have each other. Yeah. So it was really, for me, I found it a lot more daunting because it was just my mum on her own. Yeah. And now I have to break it to her hey, I need to do this. Yeah. It's time. But she took it well. So,
oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you?
For me, it was, how long? It was we were 6 years me and Rob were together for 6 years.
Okay.
And at that time, I think it was a lot easier for me and Rob for me to break it to mum and dad because I had Brody.
Yeah.
I just had him. And it was, I think he was about 2 months when we started looking.
Yeah.
But yeah, when I had Brody, probably about a month later, we decided like we needed our own space. And so yeah, then I tried like you try to be as respectful as I could to mum and dad, and pulled them aside, and then yeah, I told them that I think it's time that me and Rob go and look for our own place, especially for now that we have a baby.
Kid, yeah.
And they took it really well because of Brody. Because we were all living. There was about at the time, how many of us? 12 of us, I think, in a 3-bedroom house.
Yeah.
And when I say that to like my Balangi friends, like, what the hell?
Yeah.
But
are you serious?
Yeah. But you polys understand, it gets a bit crowded, and have a newborn and everything, and you're trying to it's the first time you're trying to be a parent, but then there's just too many people in the house. So mom and dad understood, because they were very much like, once you start your family, then you focus on your family.
Yeah.
So I was really lucky. But had I been single, or had I been like not a mother, then it might have been a harder conversation.
Yeah.
I don't know. They'll probably still take it well, but yeah, I was still.
I think it not helped, but it was just, I think your parents also understood that she's a parent now.
Yeah.
She does need to find her own place.
Yeah. But I still got the lecture from dad that he would have preferred that me and Rob got married first.
Yeah.
And then move out.
Yeah.
But then he also said, I would have preferred you to get married before you had a child.
Yeah.
I was like, I know, sorry, Dad. But yeah. So in that conversation, Dad still had to do his dad duty and let me know, that it's not going to be easy.
Yeah.
And that, he preferred that I'd be married.
Yeah.
That's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
And and then after that, he said, I like his support, whatever I do. Now that I had Brody, and, because Dad's very soft when it comes to like his grandkids. He was like, you focus on your child. Yeah. That's like your main priority now. And then, not long after that, we moved out.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's good though, because I think that was your guys' first time moving out, like ever. Like you and Rob hadn't even moved out as a couple.
Before then, we tried.
Yeah.
Before then, I think we had only been together like about 4 years.
Yeah.
And then we wanted to look for our own place. And Dad was a lot more resistant than he was when I had Brody. And but he, like, in the end, he said, I was an adult. And, he'd like do like support me, but at the same time he was very much like, no, get married first, and then move out. But I think for him it was hard too, because he didn't like because at the time we were like going through a rough time, and he's only just started to adjust to like this sort of Western lifestyle. Because I said to him, like, Dad, I'd love to get married. Yeah. This guy ain't proposing. Like that was one. And then two was like, we have no money for like weddings, like especially like a Samoan wedding. Like, I'll be like an old lady by the time I get married, especially the cost of things these days. Like
I'm pretty sure Islanders, I don't know if it's true or not, but like I'm pretty sure they will take out loans and stuff for these weddings because they're just that extravagant and massive. And it's not a small amount of people. It's a lot of people. Yeah.
And like Dad also, like if I get married, do it the traditional way, the like, how everyone sort of pitches in. Yeah. The bride's family does a certain thing,
Yeah.
and the husband's family does a certain thing. But because he, I'm with someone that's not Samoan, he wouldn't understand that.
Yeah.
So like it wasn't like we could sort of rely on the other family to contribute to the costs of the wedding either. And plus because I'm the way I was raised here in the Western countries, I didn't want that. I didn't want to rely on family.
Yeah.
I wanted to do everything my own, like by myself. Because I see, like my family, we're not rich.
Yeah.
So to me, it was like, I don't want to burden my family by having like,
for this one day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, nah, if I get married, I want to do it all by myself, pay for it myself. Everything. I don't want to like, have to get my parents to fork out loans and stuff like that.
Because you don't want to feel like you owe anyone.
Yeah.
Like that's our big things. We just don't, and because, we just don't want to rely on anyone.
Yeah. And so like that was another thing I like, tried to explain to Dad, like, it's just hard. The cost of everything is hard. I don't want to rely on you and my, like, because he said like he wanted it done that way.
Yeah.
And they will pitch in and all that. But I was like, I don't want that. Like, I see them struggling already. I don't want them like, a big ass wedding on top of it and they have to pay for it.
Yeah.
So, But then, but I just said like getting married is, it's a big, like, it's going to take ages. Like, I'm with him 12 years now. We're still not married.
That's okay. I've been with my 9 years and we're still not married. So.
Yeah. And so like, so at the time I was like, it's going to take a long time for us to get married. Plus, I really want to get to know this person as well. But he in the end, he was supportive of me moving out, but it was just something else happened that we didn't end up, which I was grateful for too anyway. Yeah.
Well, that was like because I moved in with my in-laws and like God love them because like I have great in-laws. So but I knew because we're so different, we were starting to get on each other's nerves.
Yeah.
Because I think it's true. Like even like Jordan's family was saying, or one of his family's members was saying, there should be only one sort of alpha female in a household.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Ah.
And so when there's too many, it's like it creates friction.
Yeah.
Like not that I'm not saying we hated each other by the end of it or anything.
Yeah.
It's just we both did things differently. Like both parties did things differently so that it would clash. And like, they like things a certain way and if we didn't do things that certain way or we do things our own certain way and it's not on the same wavelength, it does create this like barrier.
Yeah. So, culture clash kind of thing.
Yeah. So it was really different. And then I think after I had Brooklyn, because I was living with my in-laws when I gave birth, we stayed for I think over a year. Yeah, over a year we stayed. Or longer.
Yeah, I think longer.
I think she was 2. Yes, she was 2. So then Jordan and I, we really wanted our own space. Because we just, now that we have our own kid, sort of similar to you when you had Brody, you just feel like you need your own space to raise your own kid.
Yeah.
Because I found that my kid was confused.
Yeah.
So like obviously grandparents spoil the crap out of their grandkid.
Yeah.
But then, when you're trying to discipline them, it sends the kid mixed like messages.
Yeah.
So they're like, well, how come I can get away with it with this party, but these two don't let me get away with it. And she's very confused.
Yeah.
So that's another reason why we moved out, but we didn't know it would happen so quickly.
Yeah.
I think it only took a few days and then we found a place and then we moved out and we just wanted to be on our own.
Yeah.
And like, if anything, it taught us a really big lesson that both moving out of my mum's and then also moving out of my in-laws because I had no idea how much we actually did rely on them.
Yeah.
Like on like just like basic things like chores, cleaning, food, grocery shop, like just things that they would do every day.
Yeah.
You took for granted and you didn't appreciate when you were living with them at the time.
Yeah.
And then, you learn the hard way when you move out into your own like family home and you realize, oh crap, like this isn't as easy. Like Jordan and I were laughing at certain things like back at the old houses, we'd be like, how come the sinks in that are always clean? hello, like they just clean themselves. So obviously when you get into your own house, you're like, oh, I have to do that.
Yeah.
So we learned a lot, and it taught us a big lesson on how, you know, moving out of two families' homes where they did a lot of stuff to help us when we were living with them. Yeah. That we really did take for granted. Yeah. So now that we live in our own home, like we're just like, oh shit, we have to do this every day.
It's true, but I was exactly the same. I expected it to be like, you know, when you're young, and you're like, oh man, I'm so sick of this, I'm so sick of that,
sick of rules.
Yeah. And then when you move out, it's so much harder than you expected. Yeah. Like you underestimate the things that your parents do.
100%. Yeah.
And I like, there was a point where I had for a short time moved in with Rob's family as well. And also like, and this was like really, really shitty on my part, but because they're, like they're part like South Africans, or they're not Samoan. So when I was staying with them and watching how they run their house and that, I was like, man, you know, like as a Samoan, I was like, man, I want to live like a Balangi. Like I would be honest, but that's how I felt. Yeah. And for a bit I was ashamed. I was ashamed of like, you know, how we were brought up. Yeah. And yeah, so when I was living over there, I was like, man, we never got to have this much food on our table. Like, she would make a lot of food. Yeah. There's only like 4 people in that house, and she would make enough for like, I swear, 10 people. Yeah. And I was like, man, you know, how come mom didn't cook like this? How come dad didn't cook like this? But it wasn't until like I had moved out on my own and I just realized like how, you know,
like money doesn't grow on trees, man.
Yeah. And how hard it was for mom and dad. Yeah. Because fair enough. They had something nice. They had a lot of food. Their pantry was always full. Yeah. Fridge was always full, but there was only 4 people in that house. Whereas mom and dad, 8 kids. Yeah. 8 kids. And not only that, there were 4 people in that house, and they're all adults. Yeah. Our house, we still had little ones in there, you know, and it wasn't until like, you know, experiencing like, you know, budgeting and finance and bills and all of that, you know, shopping money and, you know, and I'm like, oh, fuck. Yeah. Like I was such a bitch. Yeah. Like I can't believe like, you know, I would be so ashamed of.
You know, you kind of realize how ungrateful you were at the time. Yeah. That you're living with your families. 100%. Yeah.
And then I'm like, you know, I can't even, like, I can barely afford to pay for me, Rob, and Brody. Yeah. How the hell was my mom and dad able to, like, you know, feed 8 kids? Like, that was, like, a big eye-opener for me.
Yeah. It's like a huge wake-up call for us. We're just like, oh, crap.
Like, and sometimes, like, you know, I just wish I could go back to my old self and just punch her in the face.
You think you know shit.
Yeah, I know. And so when the younger ones, like, you know, how they complain now, like they're at that stage where they're complaining about things at home. I'm like, nah.
You just have no idea.
Yeah, I know. You have no idea. Be grateful.
Yeah, stay home as long as you can.
I learned the hard way. And they eat, like you said, like chores as well. Like even the simple things. Like, you know, we did chores. Yeah. Like, that's what, you know, you get taught at a young age to do for hours. Clean the house. Mom was always like, you know, really strict with us. Like we had a roster and everything. Yeah. But then when I moved out, there were certain things that I didn't know that my mom did that I realized she you know, when I moved out. Yeah. Like things like the shower. Yeah. I had no idea. I thought the shower, you just go kaele, that's it.
And it washes it itself.
Yeah, I didn't know that. Like, but it now, like, mom never had the shower like get to a point where you had like soap suds like build up.
Or like mold and stuff. Yeah.
So I never knew like that, you know, I just thought that's how the shower was. Yeah. So when it started happening at my place, and I was like, I don't get it. Where is it coming from? I've never seen this in my life. Yeah. And then I realized my mom had been cleaning it like all these years. Yeah. She would clean that shower. Yeah. The same with the toilet.
Yeah. That's the worst.
Yeah.
Like I remember living with either like my own family or my in-laws, and then like it was always clean. And I used to, you know how you love a clean, like, you're not gonna, but you prefer it that way.
Yeah.
That when you see it not clean, it's disgusting.
Yeah.
But then when you have to clean it yourself, you're like, this is disgusting.
Yeah.
I hate this. How did our parents do this?
And I even say it to mom now, like, you know, I never realized, you know, or appreciated the work that she did at home, like, you know, the cleaning and all that. Because I didn't know that these things, you know, like, were supposed to be clean. I just, because it was always clean anyway. Yeah. I didn't know. I just thought that's how the shower was until I saw, like, you know, dirt. And I'm like, I don't get it. Where is it coming from? And then mom had to explain, like, you know, when you go there, like, you know, the soap build up on the tiles and then, you know, you have to clean it. And I was like, but our one never looked like that because I cleaned it. I was like, it's the first time I ever cleaned a toilet was when I moved out on my own.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. Mom always did it.
Okay, yeah. You know what? To be fair, my mum and my in-laws were the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I
You're right.
didn't know.
Yeah.
Like, if you, you know, like, sorry, it's too much information, but you know, like, you like, there's skid marks in there, like, like, there's skid marks.
I was wondering where you were going with this, and then I'm like, oh yeah, here we go, great. Yes. Now my family I'm never afraid to talk about things like that. But so I was like full smiling, and then you said it, I'm like, okay, and we're here.
Don't act like it doesn't happen.
Yeah, that's true.
But you know, when there's skid marks in there, like, we, you know, like, would get the brush and just clean that part. That's it. That's all I knew. Yeah. But when I moved out on my own, I didn't know that over time, even though there's no skid marks, but over time there's a buildup that, like, happens. And I was like, I don't get it. And I was like, yeah, you clean that too. Yeah. Like, oh, okay. So, yeah. So, like, I mean, I know I, like, sound so, like, you know, friggin' princessy, but yeah, those things But
it goes to show that, like, people, like, us kids don't know what our parents actually really do. Yeah. Like, behind the scenes while we're just, you know, because we don't really do as much as they do. Let's be honest. Like, we do dishes, or we have to, like, hang out the washing or fold the washing or vacuum. Yeah. Those are like the minimum we would do. But there's heaps of other stuff. Like, the thing that when I first moved out on our own is that we had to stock up on, like, things like toothpaste and soap. Because we'd run out, and then I'm like, oh, we have to top this up. There was one point even toilet paper, and I was like, oh, we have to top up.
Where did this come from?
I know, because it was always restocked, and, like, you know, it's always there, like toothpaste and soaps and, like, you know, dishwashing liquid, those sorts of things that you wouldn't, foil I always, like, forget, and I'm just like, oh, you have to start, like, you know, buying things.
Oh, yeah, you need to check the cupboard before you do the shopping list.
Yeah, because you come home and you've forgotten. And I used to wonder why my in-laws would joke around with me when they'd send me to the shop to do the groceries with Jordan, and we'd always forget something. And it's because they think of everything, because they're so used to it, and they're so, like, it's so, like, really, like, locked into their brains. They know what's needed and how to run the house and everything. So, yeah, so I had no idea.
Yeah. But that's the thing, like, when you move out, you have no idea. You thought you knew. Like, I thought I knew because I helped mom clean the house. I helped mom raise the kids. I thought I knew everything. Yeah. Until I moved out. Yeah. And then I realized the things that I was doing at home, my chores and stuff, that was just tidying. Yeah. That was literally just tidying the house, folding, like what you said, folding the washing and all of that, you know, cleaning, like mopping and vacuum and all that. Yeah. That was just tidying.
It really was. You really
cleaning, like, cleaning and getting on the floor and scrubbing. Yeah. Nah, I didn't, like, mom did that. Mom did all of that. We were never sort of exposed to that side of the cleaning. Yeah.
It's pretty much true, though, because, like, we didn't even notice. It's so sad how, like, ignorant you are as a kid. Like, you're that blind. Yeah. You don't know what's happening around you. Yeah. Like, you're just in your room, like, you know, playing your game or listening to your music or on your phone or whatever, that you have no idea what's going on around the house.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I remember one day I was just like, Mom, I love you.
I don't know how you guys did it.
Yeah.
Like, it's no surprise that, like, my poor in-laws, by that time, they were just over it.
Yeah.
Like, they were just like, these lazy motherfuckers.
And now, like, it's funny because now that, you know, I'm living on my own, I have and because I'm so grateful, I have so much appreciation for like mom and dad. And now when I go over to their house, I can't help but help my mom.
Yeah.
Like I will clean and clean properly. Like, well, not what I was doing before, but I'd actually like, you know, actually go there, and do the toilets and stuff like that. Because I know my siblings, as much as like, you know, sometimes I'll get pissed off at them. But I'm like, I was
exactly the same.
Yeah, I was exactly the same.
Hiding in my room, like oblivious to it all.
Yeah. So I'm like, help mom out.
Yeah.
Help dad out or something like that. But I'm like, yeah, I was the same.
Yeah. I used to say that to my brothers when I'd go over and they're like, you don't live here. You don't live here anymore, so you can't tell me what to do.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, yeah, okay.
So like every time I go over, I'll like, you know, try and help out or try and clean something so that my mom doesn't have to do it. But yeah, it is. How did you feel when you moved out?
Like on our very own?
Yeah.
I was really keen, but I was also so nervous. Like I was just like, especially because I'm raising my own kid now actually by myself.
Yeah.
Without any like adult supervision. So I was just like, what do we want to do? How are we going to do this? But see, I'm very lucky. I had like a partner who was really switched on, worked really hard, and they just made it like really easy for me to just not be as freaked out as I had initially been.
Yeah.
So it was good. We were excited but we were also really nervous because we're just like, it's our first place that we're like moving into by ourselves. We're raising our own daughter. We need to make sure she's okay. Make sure we're okay. So I think it was just I was really anxious, but it was good. Like we eventually got into a routine and we felt more comfortable like as the days went by that now we friggin' love it.
Yeah. I was, Rob and I were terrible. We fought pretty badly for the first 6 months.
Okay, I didn't mention that, but yes, carry on.
Yeah, it was like it was such a wake up call for us because we had never lived together before. And you know, when we were living at home, like if we had an argument outside somewhere, we can always go home.
Yeah.
And we not see that person for a while.
Yeah.
Whereas now we have an argument and still see him in the house.
Yeah. And you're like really like
just like get out. It's my house too.
Go outside.
Go to your room. But yeah, it was hard because it was also the first time both of us had moved out. So we were both inexperienced.
Yeah.
So then when we were like, you know, like sort of trying to adjust to this new like, you know, lifestyle, we at the same time were feeling like we were missing our family. Like it was different.
Yeah.
Because I had grown up with a full house.
Yeah.
So living on our own was so quiet. Yeah. And I was so like I was Rob would go to work and I was on maternity leave.
Oh yeah.
And I'd be shit scared. Yeah. Because it was so quiet. I was scared. I was scared of the like, you know, silence.
It is pretty like scary though, especially for us girls, because when you have brothers, you're not really scared of anything. Like you're home with your brothers and your sisters, obviously, but like something about like the men in your lives that make you feel a bit like more secure. And you have your parents, but you just feel safer. Yeah. So like when you move out on your own and you're the responsible person who's watching over another life, you were like freaking out a bit.
Yeah. But yeah, Jordan.
Yeah, but when he'd go to work too, I'd be like,
yeah. And that we used to fight about that a lot, and it also showed like our ugly side pretty much came out because he was also missing his brothers and his family. I was missing my family, and at the same time, I wasn't used to like how quiet it was. Yeah. And we fought about everything. Also, like we were going through a lot of like I was jealousy. Yeah. Because he'd go to work. And a lot of times he would stay back. And so not only is he doing his 8 hours, he would stay back another like, you know, hour or two. Yeah. And but back that because he worked in an office, so he didn't get paid overtime for it.
Oh.
So I was like, well, why would you stay? And I realized later he stayed on purpose.
Yeah.
He told me later. He said it was because it was just too toxic at home.
Yeah.
We fought all the time that he would purposely stay back at work. So at the time I was like thinking, oh, what the hell is it? Like, is he sleeping around?
Oh,
yeah. It was like, because I was stuck at home with this child. I couldn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
It was partly my fault. I don't have a license.
Yeah.
So to me, it was like all I had was this little kid that couldn't understand me. He couldn't talk back to me. So I was like, I'm so bored. Like there was just no one there to talk to. So when he came home, I would just like sort of, be in his face and I'd be like, give me some attention.
Yeah. Need interaction with an adult, man.
So like sometimes we'll go out and I will sort of like talk and he just wants to unwind.
Yeah.
And then like we clash all the time because of that. And then, and also like, I was like going through that whole jealousy thing and it just to make it like easy.
No, it is hard because I remember, it's actually funny you said that because when I first moved in, I was actually messaging her that we fought a lot. And I think it was just because we weren't used to living like just on our own. And so like I'd want things done a certain way and they'd be like, oh, relax. Or they'd want things like my partner would want things done a certain way.
Yeah.
I think we were just so self-reliant, or not even self-reliant. We just relied so much on our families.
Yeah.
That we didn't really notice each other, like our own individual contribution to the household.
Yeah.
Until we moved into our own house. And then we're just like, oh, yeah, you need to do this. But it was a lot of finger pointing.
Yes.
It was a lot of like, you need to do this better, or you need to do more of this, or you need to go and do the washing, or you need to. It wasn't like there was some sort of like, routine or any sort of understanding. It was just a lot of blaming the other person rather than like coming to some sort of like, understanding and talk it out and then figure it out as you go. Yeah. It was just a lot of like arguing.
Yeah.
Because I kept texting you and I was like, are you serious? I have to live with this person? And they're probably like, I can't believe I have to live with her.
Yeah.
He's probably like, I want my nan back. And I'm just like, I want to go home. But yeah, it's if people are planning to move out, like you got to keep that in mind. Like you're gonna have arguments, and you were right because you did say I think the first year or two is the hardest, and then you'll eventually like get used to it and figure out your own like little rhythm.
Because like what happens is you're so used to how your family runs things, or how there's a that at home like there's certain things that you guys do. Yeah. He's at his house and he follows whatever his mom set out to do. So there's you're kind of both used to the way things are run in each household. So when you come together into like your own place, like for him, his mom used to always make their beds. And so when he woke up, like when he came home, the bed wasn't made. Yeah. And then, and that was the one thing that we thought about. He goes, how come the bed wasn't made? Yeah. And I was like, you sleep in that bed too. Like, well, hell no, you don't expect me to make your bed like your mom does. Like things like that. So like, he sort of realized that he also had to break away from like what he was used to. I was like at the same time, because I was like really sort of on his case as well. Like, get off your game and clean the house or something like that. So like I had to sort of try and break away from what I was taught as well. Yeah. So then we had to, in a way, try and figure out our own style. Yeah. Yeah. Like, so now like, it's been how many years, but we're already slowly starting to get used to. Yeah. We still fight to this day, but like, not as bad as back then. Yeah. But it's always that just clash of the way, like things that you're used to and just breaking away from it. Because it was hard for him. Like he really missed his brothers. Yeah. At the same time, I also felt guilty because like, whenever I go and visit his family, I always like, I don't know, I just felt guilty that, they sort of blamed me for taking him away from them.
See, I felt that too. Yeah. Like they probably didn't. Well, I don't know if they did, but maybe but I used to feel like that too. I used to be like, oh, they probably don't like me right now because we took their baby away from them.
Yeah. I felt like I used to feel really bad like when I go over.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I'm like, oh, they probably hate me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know, but it didn't seem like the case like years later. But yeah, because the other thing that we don't realize is that we're so focused on how we feel.
Yes.
But we don't sort of pay any mind to how our families are adjusting to that change too.
Yeah.
Not having, especially us as we're, the eldest.
Yeah.
And, as the eldest, we have like, all these responsibilities. So how did you feel when you moved out? Like, did you ever think back to how your family are doing?
I felt so guilty.
Yeah?
I used to feel really guilty because I felt like I abandoned them and they must have felt like I just left them. But they were actually like pretty supportive themselves. Like I didn't feel like any of them had ill feelings towards me about it. It was just my own sort of thinking.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, my poor siblings, like, so used to me being there for them that now that I'm not there for them. Yeah. But I would still I was bad though. I would still go back all the time.
Yeah.
And help out all the time or like, give money sometimes and like, when you do things because out of guilt because you're like, oh, I've just left you guys. And I used to just visit all the time and like, yeah, but they were fine. It's just, you still can't help but feel that way.
Yeah.
Even after I moved out of my in-laws, like I used to feel really guilty too because I'm like, oh, I've taken like their baby away from them. They probably miss him and like, obviously miss my baby as well. Like, Brooklyn and they're so used to like her running around and, there's like fun in the house and like, like a little kid running amok and stuff. So they were so used to that when we left, it was very quiet. So yeah, it was just, I knew we had to sort of make sure they still see her as often as they want to see her.
Yeah.
So yeah. What about you?
Yeah, the same. And I think, I don't know if Rob felt the same way, but for me, us island girls, we were always like sort of the most dependent on, and, especially like we're our mom's right hand and everything. So like I used to, but I didn't like really sort of think too much about how they were feeling as well. Cause I was just more focused about me.
Yeah.
But I didn't I didn't know like, that they also had to go through an adjustment phase.
Yeah.
That they also have to get used to all the things that I was doing for them. They had to get used to doing it on their own. Yeah. Yeah. And like also like, just the little things that I did do, I didn't realize that, it would be empty sort of thing. Like my room would be, would be different now. Yeah. Like little things like that, I didn't realize. It wasn't until my brother recently just moved out. Yeah. And and now like we're sort of, well, not me so much because I've already moved out. Yeah. But like going over there and just like, it's like that kind of, I don't know, like this feeling like you just miss them. Yeah. Like it's not the same that they're not there.
Especially because it's your first time. Yeah. So it's like, it's a really weird feeling.
Yeah. And it's now that I'm seeing how, like, what they're going through with him leaving. Yeah. So, mom was crying pretty bad, and the house looks so empty because my niece is not there. That she was the only grandchild because once Brody moved out, it was just Bella in there. And so it was like really loud with her in there. And then now it's gone. It's just dead quiet. Yeah. So I didn't know they also feel like, they go through like an adjustment phase themselves. I didn't know that until he moved out. Yeah. And that's only this year. So I'm like, oh. Yeah. So I can tell now, like, when I moved out, that's what they were going through. Yeah. Yeah. It's heartbreaking.
It really is because you don't realize at the time that it wasn't just a massive change for yourself. Yeah. It also was a massive change for them as well. So
especially my mom and dad because they cried. When I saw them cry when he left, I was like, man, like I didn't even think about that when I moved out, like how my mom and dad would feel or how they would react. And mom's just like, she was just really heartbroken. Yeah. But I think we all got to prepare for that one day too. When our kids grow up, they're gonna, have to move on with their lives as well.
Well, I'm a bit nervous because I kind of hope my kid will stay with me forever.
Yeah.
But he keeps it real with me. He's like, yeah, that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Like, we have to be realistic. But I reckon I won't be the type to just be like, no, you can't. Like, you have to stay with me. And like, obviously I want her to be happy and live her life, but I also half want her to stay with me for life. So
yeah. I know now that, because we're raised out here in the Western countries, but we're sort of more, we're slightly more skewed towards like the Balangi lifestyle, when kids get to a certain age and they want to move on, it's okay for us.
Yeah.
Whereas Islanders, you could be 50 and still living at home with your parents.
Yeah.
Like, I like for me, I would be happy that Brody moves on with his life when he gets to a certain age.
Yeah.
But now, like, after seeing how my mom and dad were when my brother left, I was like, man, am I going to feel that way when he moves out?
We probably will.
Yeah.
But I think because they're so young right now, we're not even thinking about that. But yeah, I reckon we will.
Do you think that, for those that do keep their children at home, do you think that's partly why? It's like that separation anxiety.
That fear.
Yeah.
Maybe. I think a lot of it also, like with our Pacifica people, is that again, like a lot of the parents do rely on their kids as well. Both to help run the household, but also financially as well.
Yeah.
Because some of them don't even work. Like, some parents don't work. So again, they rely on the kids to go out there and help support the families and stuff. So I think it's probably like a number of things.
Yeah.
But that might be a main one as well, like that fear of losing their kid and not having them stay with them anymore. Like there would be that separation anxiety that you were saying.
Yeah. At the same time, like you said, with your experience, I also felt that way when I moved out. Like I felt like I still had to do things or had to do more to, help out mom and dad. Because now, like, there's one income down sort of thing. So, but then it caused arguments with me and Rob because it's like, no, we moved out. Yeah. So that's like, you got to cut the strings. Yeah. Like, we got to focus on our finances now.
Yeah. It's like we were taking the same patterns and stuff.
Yeah.
To this new like environment.
Yeah.
And our non-Samoan partners were like, nah.
Yeah.
Like nicely, but basically nah.
But it was just hard for me because for me, it was just a way to sort of, I guess, selfishly make me feel less guilty as well.
Yeah.
Because I did have like immense guilt when I moved out. And also for some reason, I don't know if you feel the same way, but like when I moved out, I felt like they couldn't survive without me.
Yeah. Like they're going to die.
Yeah.
Even though they're not. Like your brain's telling you, no, they'll be fine. Yeah. You're still like, no, because they need me. I need to be there. Like, you're just... Yeah, because we're just so used to that lifestyle and that way of thinking that it was hard to just shake it off and just be like, no, this is how you need to start thinking moving forward. But yeah, it's hard to shake off.
Yeah, because I cried. I cried for probably every night for I don't know how long.
Yeah.
And just thinking about like, mom and dad's probably like struggling and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And then I was trying to figure out a way to be able to give them some money or give them something. And at the same time, please Rob at the same time. So it was like kind of caught in the middle. Because like I can understand where Rob's coming from because he's like, we have our own finances. We haven't even figured that out yet. And then you want to go give money to your family? Yeah. I'm like, but they're struggling. Yeah. He always said they will survive. Yeah. They've survived with 8 kids. Yeah. Yeah. So they'll be all right.
Yeah, they'll figure out a way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's been like I don't know how long, but they're doing all right.
Yeah.
They're starting to realize that, kids are slowly moving out now.
Yeah.
We all like grew up together. We're probably all 2 of us are in our 30s. Yeah. And then others are not far behind.
Well, it's nearly half of yous are out. Nearly.
Yeah. So I think they're slowly getting used to that, the fact that, we're moving on with our own families now. So I think they're getting a little used to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's still always like, I feel like a part of their heart sort of breaks every
Yeah.
time a kid moves on.
Yeah, it can't be easy for them.
Yeah.
Like, for the next kids to come to you and be like, hey, we're moving out. Like,
Yeah.
it can't be easy for a parent to hear, especially if you've got that many kids.
Mm.
You think that you'll have at least a few of them around for a bit longer.
Yeah.
But then when they slowly, gradually all going, it's like, oh, crap. Like, it's getting even more real that a lot of them are just going to, or all of them will eventually just move out.
Yeah. 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 We both experienced, I guess, we both had a better experience than a lot of islanders in the, aspect of, sort of breaking it to our parents that we're going to move out.
Mm.
Like, have you heard of any stories or any, other islanders that have tried to tell their parents they want to move out and it didn't work out so well?
I've had friends who have told their parents have said no, so they ran away. And I'm not saying that's the answer to, all your problems, but I can't say that I blame them sometimes because I do find that, as much as I feel like our culture is very respectful and, a loving family, like, tight-knit kind of upbringing, it's not easy for a kid. It's already daunting for a kid to tell an island parent something, especially something that they know the parent might not agree with.
Yeah.
So it's already daunting enough. And then to get shut down because, let's say, for example, my mum said no. And then, you don't know if you're affecting that relationship with that person. Like, if that person's got a relationship, potentially that could have ruined that relationship and that person can just move on. They're like, oh, this is too much work for me.
Yeah.
What kind of adult can't move out of her house? She's 30 years old, can't leave because her parents said no.
Yeah.
And she has a kid and we have a kid together, still can't move out. So it's really hard for our people to want to go up to it's really hard for us to approach our parents about a lot of things. And
there have been cases that's happened as well. Yeah. Where they're 30.
Yeah.
And then the parents say no and then it ruins that relationship.
Yeah. And then they end up breaking up and then so it's either, but that's the sad thing. It's either they break up or they run away.
Yeah.
And it's sad that we feel that need that's at the only other option. It's either we break up with that person or we run off with them. And I know that's not what kids want to do.
Yeah.
As much as they're looked at as a bad kid or, little skai or Falonga or whatever. They're just disobedient kids. I'm pretty sure 99% of the time they don't want to run away. They would much prefer to just be open and upfront with their parents and be like, hey, I love you and I'm grateful for everything you've done for me. And raised me and everything, but it's time for me to, move on with my life and, find my own, my own home and just leave the nest.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure most kids prefer that conversation, but because it's immediately shut down and rejected, some of them don't have any other choice but to leave.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't know if it's common amongst all other Pacific Islanders, but I know with Samoans, it's in order to move out, you have to get married.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
I don't know, this unspoken law that we've all grew up with.
Yeah. Even getting pregnant, if I guess we're grateful that we're lucky our parents weren't like that.
Yeah. Where
they enforce you to get married. So if you got pregnant out of wedlock, you had to get married.
Yeah.
I know that a lot of islanders have to do that, even as young as 16 or what. They not only are they already going through something major like pregnancy, but on top of that they have to get married, and I just don't think that's a solution.
Yeah.
It's not something that you should put on another. They've already got enough on their shoulders, and then to add marriage on top, I don't think it's each to their own. But for me, it's that's too much on a kid's shoulders.
Yeah. But it also sort of causes these kids to then purposely go and get married young.
Yeah, or get pregnant.
Yeah. Just to sort of escape,
staying at home.
Yeah.
Or living at home. Because then their parents look at it oh, well, I can't do anything now. They've went and got themselves pregnant, or they've gone and gotten married.
Yeah.
Or they've run away. But I feel like it would have been a whole lot easier if the parents had just been oh, okay,
Yeah.
I don't want you to move out, but I love you.
Yeah.
I still want us to have some form of a relationship. So, yeah, if you want to move out, then you can move out.
I'm curious to know what the why is that considered the best interest for the kid that they need to get married first?
Mm.
To
I
move
don't think
out?
it is the best interest of the kid. I think it's that self-image that us islanders
Yeah.
have, where we need to make sure everyone knows that they were brought up right,
Yeah.
raised right, and that because it's a shameful look on the family as a unit.
Mm-hmm.
It's got nothing to do with them worrying about the benefit of that kid.
Yeah.
It's 100 for me. It's 100% them worrying about their image as respected island family, Samoan family, that they raise their kids to go to school, get an education, get a job, get married, and then start having kids.
Yeah.
So when it's not done in that sort of order, yeah, for me, I feel like they just want to protect themselves rather than think of what's best for the kid.
Because I see a lot of cases where some have gone to uni, now they've got a good job and everything, but they now they're successful, they have a successful career, but still can't move out of the house. And it's in
some instances I think it's like some it really works for them because they thank their parents for that sort of upbringing because it did build the person that they are now. And for me, it depends on the kid. Like if that works for that kid, then that works for that kid. But you're not always going to have a kid who's going to want that for their life. And I feel like as parents, especially, I'm not saying I'm a pro as a parent, but I know there's a lot of things I will do differently with my own kid than what's really with Islanders. We all have that fear of telling our parents anything.
Yeah. And
it's really sad because they're meant to be your go-to person.
Yeah.
Whenever you have a problem or you need help with something, you would like to go to them, but because you're just that scared.
Yeah.
You don't.
You go and do the wrong thing instead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying, trying to tell other kids, go and do the wrong thing so that your parents can. No, I just feel like parents should be a bit more open-minded, I suppose.
Yeah.
But I think we can't really say that because, a lot of island parents, that's just the way they've been brought up and the way they've been taught.
Yeah.
So it's just hard.
But the other thing that I think is a major factor in why parents are so strict is, to be honest, it also, it comes down to the reason why there's so much reliance on children is because, parents will sort of, I don't know, I'm being honest, but some cases they want to retire early. And so when they retire early, they're homebound sort of thing. So now the kids are the ones that are providing the financial income for them to survive. When they move out, they lose that, right?
Yeah.
But what we haven't, what I find that they're scared of is and why they cling on to their kids is that they know they're getting older. And when they get older, they can already see, what their future is going to look like. So if everyone moves out, how are they going to live?
Yeah.
How are they going to, what are they going to do? Yeah. It's going to be empty. They're old. They can't work. Yeah. Where's their money coming from? Yeah. I think they already sort of foresee what their life is going to look like, so they cling on to their kids. But none of us sort of, think about, well, what can I do for my own life so that I'm set up for the future for myself? Yeah. And that's sort of what I've learned growing up is that, growing up in a Western country, is that, I look at, the Balangis and, things like superannuation. Yeah. You don't know how important that is until you get to that age. Yeah. Because that's a, where you can sort of, that
will help set you up for the future.
Yeah. 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 So working right up until, you retire and then you have that money sort of ready for you when you do retire. Yeah. Rather than relying on, income from your kids. I think that, it's not their, I don't think it's just how they were brought up. Yeah. Because there's been generation before that. Yeah. That they all do the same thing. Yeah. So no one sort of
it's the same cycle though.
Yeah. 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 So no one's had that mentality that they had to think that, sorry, I'll backtrack what I said before. I think they're not looking that far ahead into their own future. to plan it out.
Yeah.
They're so focused on the now
Yeah.
that by the time they get to that age, that's why they cling on to their kids, because it's like, well, I didn't think about doing, setting myself up for that age.
Yeah.
Because right now we're only focusing on, things that's happening now.
Yeah.
How we're going to survive, all the luxuries that we want, and blah, blah, blah. But what happens when you get to that age and all your kids have moved out?
I think it's because like we have this sort of mindset that we're just trying to make it till like maybe the next week.
Yeah.
Or the next like month, but we're not looking beyond that.
Yeah.
And I think that's the cycle we need to break, because it's the kids who are suffering. Like, it's just that's just my honest opinion. That's why I feel like kids rebel and they do, they go out and do other things, or join gangs or like just anything else, then have to deal with what they're going through at home. And I'm not saying home's a prison or they're confined just at home and like, but it's sort of a way for kids to be free, I suppose.
Yeah.
And it's going down a path that shouldn't be the path they should be on. But in their minds, they feel like that's the only option they have.
Yeah.
And it's sad because we're not trying to say we're ungrateful to the parents or they're doing a terrible job. I just think we all need to just, break the cycle.
Yeah. Yeah. So like, I think our generation is a lot more, not switched on, but we're a lot more, we have more opportunities that educate us on that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So like, my mom and dad never were taught that sort of stuff before.
Yeah.
But, we're taught growing up in, Western countries. We're, like it's always taught taught at schools that, when you retire, when you get to a certain age, like you can plan ahead. So like I didn't know about superannuation until
I didn't know anything.
Yeah. So for those living outside of Australia, at work they cut like 10% off our pay. No,
I don't know the percentage, but it's a part of
like,
our pay.
Yeah, about 9% of your gross pay, is it? So your employer pays the 9% to your superannuation, and that accumulates over however long you've worked for.
Yeah.
So that when you retire, you can get that money back. Kind of like savings, but so when you retire at, say, what's the retirement age now?
I think it's gone up.
78. No.
I think it's 70 something.
Yeah.
Not just 70. It used to be like lower, 60 something, and then it got up, like went up.
Oh, no, sorry, 67, because it was 65 before.
What the? I thought it's like in its 70s now.
Oh, fetch. I don't know, because Dad... Yeah, because I remember Dad, because he's in his 60s, and he was like, oh, yes, 5 more years to go. And then he found out that it was 67, and we was heartbroken.
Yeah. Because he's worked for ages.
Yeah, yeah. But my dad...
66.
Oh. It depends on the year you're born, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So born between 1st of January 1954 and 30th of June 1955, it's 66. But it's weird. It goes 66 years and 6 months, and then it goes 67.
Yeah. So Dad falls in the 67.
Oh.
Yeah. So he was. He
does too.
He was pretty heartbroken. I really felt sorry for him.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was the one that who taught us that we always had to think ahead.
Yeah.
Plan for your future and all that.
Yeah.
He never listened.
Yeah.
As like, it was such a disappointment, but yeah, we never listened until like now that I have my own child.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, fetch. Yeah, Dad's right.
Yeah.
So like things like that, we're trying to, do things now so that it sets us up so we don't have to rely on Brody to provide for us.
Yeah, because I don't want that.
Yeah.
I've talked to Jordan about it, and we don't want her to ever feel like she has to support us.
Yeah.
Again, it's nothing against anyone else who does it differently, but for us personally, we would prefer her to save and invest in herself.
Yeah.
So when she gets to an age where she can start working, that money is all hers. I'm not saying she's going to blow it all. Like, we're going to obviously try and teach her and implement tools for her to learn to save and set herself up.
Yeah.
But we don't want her looking after us. We don't feel like I don't feel comfortable having her look after us. That's just my honest opinion. As a parent, I should be the one to look after her. Even until like I'm old, like we will find a way, like we will figure it out. But she should be a kid, live her life as a kid, and then set herself up, and so that she can raise her own kids like that. Because again, I really want to break this cycle of like us not getting anywhere or going through the same exact thing as the other one.
Yeah.
Like Islanders do have the stigma where we can't express anything.
Yeah.
Like or talk to anyone about anything, or like we just don't like no one owns homes or like invests in themselves.
Yeah.
And I really want to break that because we as people are like we're strong and we're smart. So anyone can do it.
Yeah. Yeah. And like with my dad, he was like most of my life he was very strict.
Yeah.
Very strict. I couldn't even go to I wasn't even
This
allowed,
is true.
I wasn't allowed to go to movies with my friends. Even if I wanted to go to a birthday party, like, you know, dad would like, you know, tell me off.
Yeah.
And, oh man, it was a big thing. But that's why I was so surprised when, you know, when like, you know, I did get older and I was like, you know, I had a boyfriend that how like he was a lot more like he was a lot softer.
Yeah.
I was really surprised, but like, you know, it wasn't until later I realized I think he's also looking ahead at his own life.
Yeah.
And he's like, you know, you know, there's sort of, he either gives me support to do what I need to do to be successful, whatever, rather than him sort of, you know, being so strict and keeping us at home and we don't end up having a life and it's just like, you know, be miserable.
Yeah.
Because I think he's at that point where he feels like he has nothing.
Yeah.
Like he has, like, he's, you know, all he does is go to work, come home and that's it.
Yeah.
And he doesn't want that for any of us. So I think that was why it was also easier for him to give me his blessing to move out.
Yeah.
Because even now, like, he'll come over and I always get the same, you know, same sort of advice is always, you know, try hard for the future of your son.
Yeah.
Make sure you know, you do something now, focus on something now so you know that it'll build up by the time Brody's older and you guys are all successful.
Yeah.
Like, it's the same thing. He always comes over and he's like, you know, got those advice ready.
Yeah. He's like, are you ready for your lesson today?
Yeah. But yeah, it's always to do with looking ahead and plan out your future.
To be honest, I feel like my parents being strict also helped. Like, as much as we think it's too harsh or too hard, I'm not gonna lie, it did shape us into the people that we are today.
Yeah.
Because I don't think there's enough parents being that strict with their parents now.
Oh yeah.
Like, it's just, I feel like kids are getting away with way too much and parents are too scared to do anything because their kids might report them and you kids need to stop that, okay?
I know. Because
like, as much as we, you know, it takes two. So if your parents are strict, but you're also being a little shit, like you can't, like, you just have to both meet halfway.
It's like they can't win.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, it's we can't always just blame the parents also. Like, I know there's some parents out there who are super strict, super hard, but you kids also can't be those, like, you know, type of kids who just refuse to, you know, listen. Or,
be entitled.
Yeah, it's super. Like, I've noticed, like, you know, and lately, kids are so entitled. You expect so much and you want so much, but you're not willing to do what's necessary to get there.
Yeah.
You expect it to just fall in your laps, and you know, that's not how the world works. Yeah. So it's if you want your parents to, you know, break that cycle, you also need to sort of break that cycle of being, you know,
a brat.
Yeah, pretty much, because it goes both ways. It's not going to work if one group is like this and the other one's still in that same like mind frame. So yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Because like I have younger siblings and like, you know, there's such a big age gap.
Yeah.
And just like, you know, as much as like, you know, so like parents, if you be too strict, you get hated for it. Yeah. You be too nice, this is what you get. You know what I mean? So like, you know, our poor parents, like they just don't know.
They're like so confused.
Yeah. So like, you know, right, like now, you know, the way I see my younger siblings act towards like my parents, I'm like, are you serious? Yeah. Really? And it's just, they just expect them to do everything. Yeah. And that's why, like, you know, mom and dad, like, you know, for those that are older and have finished school, I'm just like, just let them move out. That is the best way you can teach them to be grateful, honestly. It
is.
Yeah. And like, you know, mom and dad were like, no, you know, he's still not ready and blah, blah. Like, who stuff if they're ready? Just send them out. Yeah. Like, get them to go.
They will learn.
Yeah. get them to go and learn how to be independent so
Yeah.
they can be grateful
Yeah.
for like, everything that the parents have done
Yeah.
for them.
Mm.
That's the only way that
It's because that's the only way we learn as
Yeah.
well. So it's like the parents could do so much, but it's not until they realize and then like, oh frick, I should have.
And for parents out there, like, if you do have, children that are acting that way, like entitled, send them out to the world and let them survive.
Yeah.
Like they're lucky that they're sort of protected under your house and, you're doing everything in that because it breaks my heart sometimes to see like, mom doing everything for my siblings.
Yeah.
And it's like they just sleep all day.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Send them out. Like get them to learn the hard way. And I think I noticed with our generation as parents, we're very protective as well. With our children.
Mm-hmm.
We don't let them struggle.
Yeah.
Like, so they don't know what struggling is.
Yeah. We don't want them to know what that, like, obviously they're going to learn that eventually, but we don't want to be the reason why they're struggling. Yeah. And that's for me, my goal.
Yeah, because I'm also like I try for me because I didn't have much growing up, so I don't want Brody to feel that pain, so I try and give him much more. Yeah, but I'm doing him, like it's a disadvantage for him because he's learning is okay. Whatever I say I want, I get it. Yeah, so he's growing up with that mentality. Yeah. So I'm like, I need to cut this shit out. Yeah, I need to it's a good thing that you let your children figure things out on their own, let them struggle. Yeah. That's the only way they learn. Today these kids have everything in their hand. Like these phones and everything. They have access to everything that we had. Yeah. Yeah.
That was a good little run we just had. It's like,
it just went like this.
Like it's like parents, kids. So what is this? Brother like pick a team?
Nah. But like for me personally, like I was that child. I was like a real sort of. I never appreciated the effort that my parents had for us. Yep. I took advantage of their hard work in that. But now that as an adult and going through it myself, I'm only now really being appreciative, being grateful for my parents. Yeah, and really noticing those little things that they did for me that I didn't know before. Yeah. And that's all my take for anybody that is moving out is that, appreciate your parents. Yeah. And be grateful. And, it is going to be hard on your own for the, first year, or even if you're moving in with your partner. Yeah. It's going to be really hard, but, you got to learn to sort of stick it out and work it out yourself.
If that's what you really want, and you got your parents' blessing, or you wanted to prove to your parents that you can do this, then you've got to do the hard yards. So
figure it out. Don't take advantage of the blessing that you did receive from your parents. Yeah, and good luck. That's all I can say.
Yeah, we wish you all the best. Like as much as we're talking, but we do hope for the best for everyone because it's
and don't just move out and forget them as well. Yeah. It does really make their day when you give them a call or just pop by and visit and things like that. Yeah. Okay. Do you have anything else to add?
No. I thought I did, but I'm like, no, I'm good.
I feel like it's really hot in this room.
I think your aircon stopped, and I'm just like. I didn't want to bring it up, but you said it, so I'm like, oh yeah, there's a light right here and a light right there. I'm just like, can they see the sweat on my forehead right now?
Because our partners are in the lounge, so they're probably freezing. Yeah, and we're dying in here.
We're just like, and when you laugh, you get warm. So we're just like, it's a sauna in here right now.
All right, I think we'll end it at that. Yeah, stay tuned. We're on Facebook, Instagram as Indie Faith Podcast.
Yeah, TikTok.
Yep, and TikTok.
Oh, with YouTube, Logosmith Media. Yep. And then under all of that, you'll find Indie Faith Podcast.
Yeah. You'll see Smoke and Mirrors on the top, and that's on the, our other
Our brother podcast.
Our brother podcast.
Yeah.
But yeah, ours will be at the bottom. But we usually just share the link of our episodes anyway.
Yeah, I need to do that better.
Thank you so much to everyone that supported.
Oh, the views. Episode number 10 is now it keeps going up.
I know.
I think it's up to 2,500 now views.
Thank you so much.
Even the views on our own videos, like we're so grateful. And Coconut TV, thank you guys so much for sharing our podcast.
I know, it was such an honor, and we're just
like I was at work and I was just like, oh my god.
Thanks to Mom also for setting that up as
Auntie,
well.
Love you.
And also Samoa as well.
Yes.
They shared our post before.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Like it really does help a lot that, you guys share our videos.
Like you have no idea how much, recognition means to us when we get recognized. We're like, oh my gosh, thank you.
But it really is like, it does help, like whenever it's shared, we get more followers. And thank you so much for your support.
And everyone sending their comments and their, feedback. Like you have no idea. We see it.
Yeah.
We see you guys. So.
And it means so much.
Yeah.
Hope you guys are enjoying our content as well. If you have any topic ideas, please let us know.
Please, yeah,
it's a struggle to come up with topics.
I'm not gonna lie, we actually thought about what the hell are we gonna talk about?
But we are actually already starting to plan for our Christmas episode.
Oh, exciting stuff coming, guys.
Stay tuned for that. Really, really excited for that episode. I'm really excited for Christmas, actually.
I am too, because holidays.
Broke ass, but
Merry Christmas. Here's a hug.
Christmas spirit.
Exactly. It's all about energy, guys, vibes. So
stay safe, and we'll see you in the next episode.